I think with fixed protection, it's a really tricky one because you have to stop funding to apply for fixed protection. For people that are a few years off retirement, but they have got funds that could potentially reach the lifetime allowance, it is a tricky one to know when to stop funding, when you actually give that advice. I think it can be quite difficult. And there'll be people, particularly with defined benefit schemes, that might be a couple of years off that will be reaching it. And would you really advise them to stop funding and lose out on the employer contribution? Even if they're not, if they're in DC schemes with auto-enrolment, can you really advise them to opt out? And it's a question really looking at what the potential lifetime allowance charge might be if they stay in versus the benefit of having those employer contributions but paying a tax charge on it. When it comes to individual protection, it's a lot more straightforward. If they qualify for it, as in they have more than £1 million in their pension fund at 5th of April 2016, then there isn't really a reason not to apply for it. It's really sort of like an insurance policy. If your fund goes down, it gives you the potential to bring it back up again afterwards. The difficulty, one of the many difficulties with the tapered annual allowance is that people often won't know what their annual allowance is till after the end of the tax year, especially applicable to those who are self-employed, don't know what their earnings are going to be, and because the definition of income includes investment income, dividend income, etc., people don't know what it's going to be till after the end of the tax year. So what you could do is just make contributions of the £10,000 or an amount that you're comfortable you're going to have at least that amount of annual allowance, and then use carry forward and carry forward into the next tax year any unused allowance once you know what it's going to be. One thing to be careful with on that is just that you can't do it once you've triggered the MPAA, so if you flexibly access benefits, you stop the ability to use carry forward. But up until that point, that could be one strategy. And the other thing to bear in mind is if you do end up with an annual allowance charge, is that you have got the option of scheme pays, whereby the annual allowance charge can be paid out of the pension fund. Depending on the circumstances, it could be on a compulsory basis or if not, on a voluntary basis.